This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Ding 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 ding. Hey, welcome to 2019. Hey, woo! Such fun. We didn't have as much fun as Andy Cohen and Anderson Cooper.
Oh boy!
But we'll get to that later. Now, this is a story that you have to hear to believe. It involves a local author and our First Lady. The local author is Todd Zimmerman, and he wrote a book called Oliver the Ornament.
Sounds controversial to me.
Well, it was it was written, it's a very nice, it's a Christmas book, okay? Oliver the Ornament is a heartwarming tale of one family's cherished Christmas ornaments, and it's Melania Trump read it to sick children at a hospital.
Sounds controversial to me.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
Shh. The First Lady is speaking.
I'm sorry.
The smell of Thanksgiving dinner was still in the air. The guests had gone home hours ago, and now it was time for Henry and Holly to go to bed. You know, I couldn't find Oliver today. He was our first ornament, and he's been with us since our first date. I will have to find him tomorrow because it just wouldn't be Christmas without him.
Yeah,
Oh, come on.
honestly,
That's obviously code to the Russians.
No.
Come on, you know that.
When
Yeah.
she speaks, I'm mesmerized. Because she's gorgeous. And I mean, her voice is so perfect. It's
Very, very nice.
like party animals.
Yes.
But
When I have my books on tape, I want Melania to do it.
there you go. Well, let's welcome to the program Todd Zimmerman to tell his story. So what an honor as a local author to have her decide to read your book. How did you find out about this?
Well, thanks for having me on first. I received an email from the White House in October asking me, saying that the First Lady had read my book, and they were wondering if I would be available for a phone call the next day. So, of course, it's the White House, so of course I was available. And they called me up and the next day and said that she had read my book and that she would like to read it at Children's National Hospital in Washington, D.C., at Christmas time, continuing a tradition that has been carried on since Bess Truman was the First Lady.
Wow.
So it was really exciting, obviously, for me.
And then, so you flew out to Washington, D.C., and you were with her or in the room, right, when she read the book?
Yes. I was sitting right. There was a little child in between us. In the pictures you can see that there's children patient escorts that escorted her in, and then I was sitting 3 feet away from the First Lady as she was reading my book.
Do you think it was right of you to say, First Lady, could show me a little more enthusiasm when you say Oliver? I mean,
No.
was that right?
Stop.
Did you do that, Todd?
No, it was
Did you question her
I was
read?
sitting next to her and I was thinking, oh my gosh, I can't believe the First Lady of the United States is reading my book. This just can't be happening.
Yes.
And she's really a lovely lady, right?
She's really, really nice. She's, I saw some things, some kind of behind the scene images, and just got to see a glimpse of what the real person is like. And she's just, incredibly gracious, incredibly engaging with everyone that she spoke with and interacted with.
Right. So now, how has life changed because she chose your book to read to the sick children?
Well, the good news is that this happened. I mean, like I said, this is a tradition that has gone on for 70 years. Books that have been read up until this point include Polar Express or 'Twas the Night Before Christmas and Rudolph. So suddenly my book is in the company with some really iconic Christmas stories.
Dr. Seuss didn't even have his book read by Jackie Kennedy. I mean, think about it.
Not yet.
Not yet. So wait a minute. You said the good news. There couldn't possibly be bad news, could there, Todd?
Oh, you wouldn't think so. But,
okay.
These days where politics seems to have to enter every single element of our society, of course, somehow politics entered into this. Once I found out that this was going to happen, I developed a pretty comprehensive marketing strategy that was going to capitalize on the fact that people who like Donald Trump and people who like Christmas and people who are parents would be very likely to be interested in learning more about this, the fact that Melania Trump selected this book. So I developed an entire campaign on social media to promote this to those individuals. However, as soon as the event took place, I started getting notifications from Facebook saying that my content was not appropriate and it did not meet their community standards. And I thought, well, I've donated 2,000 copies of my book to hospitalized children. A portion of my proceeds of all the sale of my books goes to charity. What can I possibly be doing that doesn't meet their community standards? And so we went back and forth, and of course you're communicating with, you don't know who you're communicating with other than, perhaps a computer. And I was just completely rejected from promoting this whatsoever. What became even worse, though, was my product is sold in about 300 stores across the country, and my stores were really excited because they would be able to share the video of the First Lady, sharing content, reading the book, and they would receive error messages from Facebook as well, stating that this content does not meet their community standards. And
this is unbelievable that this is happening.
Well,
it's crazy. This is the First Lady chose this book because it promotes kindness, especially in the face of anti-bullying. And if anybody would have been at that event, you would have known that there was nothing political about that day whatsoever.
Well, let me ask you this, Todd. I mean, if Michelle Obama, let's say, had read Shel Silverstein's "The Giving Tree" or whatever it was, would Facebook have said that violated community standards?
Well, it's interesting you should ask that because I was getting very frustrated by all of this. I contacted the White House. The White House educated me into what this term called shadowboxing is, which is, suppressing conservative, positive commentary. And so I just thought to myself, well, I wonder if this truly could be, just something against what they view as conservative content. So I changed my post to former First Lady Michelle Obama continued the tradition that was carried on this week. So the video is the same. All of the content was the same. Went to promote it. Facebook took my money with open hands and said, thank you for promoting this wonderful message.
You screwed around with the algorithm. I mean, that's what you did.
And it worked. That's why I think this is such a fascinating story.
This one, you can't even make it up. You can't make up the fact that I could post the exact same content mentioning the former First Lady, but I couldn't post the content listing the existing First Lady.
Todd, has Tucker Carlson booked you yet? No, I mean, we got to
have you
you know
reached
what?
out?
If you've got a call, if you've got a line into him,
well, I'm gonna text him right now, Tucker. I know you're at the country club right now, and your daughter's being harassed by somebody.
No, but this is exactly.
He should be on. This is right up Tucker's alley. It's up our alley.
The shadow boxing of conservative content on Facebook has got to be exposed, and that's why. And Todd, I don't even know if you're a Republican or a Democrat, or how you vote, and you don't have to say, but the fact that this is happening to you, do you understand now why conservatives are under attack?
I said, what I always say about my business is Oliver's a little boy. And you know what? I want his message of kindness to resonate with Republicans, with Democrats, with independents. How I vote really isn't important at all.
But who did you vote for, Todd?
But I'll tell you this. If I was a Democrat, I don't know how I could stay being a Democrat after what happened to me in light of all of the positive things that we were trying to communicate with this event.
It's a suppression of the First Amendment, and as conservatives, we hate the idea of the government taking over these gigantic entities, big media like Facebook. But this is ridiculous. They've totally chilled free speech.
It goes a step further. So it's not just Facebook. It's not just Instagram or Twitter. there is probably 300-400 news organizations at the very least that picked up this story. But you couldn't find these stories. That's the problem. That's what shadowboxing is. They pick them up, they report it, but they don't come up in your news feeds anymore. So if you go and you Google Oliver the Ornament, you would think the fact that the First Lady of the United States of America selected this book and read it, continuing a 70-year tradition, you'd think that would come up in a Google search. You won't find that anywhere. What you will find, if you do First Lady Melania Trump read Oliver the Ornament, then the stories come up. But that's only going to come up if people are aware of it.
Wow. So, and then also when we spoke, last week, because you'd called in and asked about, brought this story to my attention. You mentioned that the kids that were with Melania Trump, have they received any pushback at all?
That's even worse. What I had to deal with is a business, is business, and it's, financial. But these kids have endured some really horrific, first 6 years of their lives, having to go through surgery after surgery after surgery. And they were both so honored to be able to escort the First Lady in and sit next to the First Lady. The parents got threats levied towards them. There was racial comments, derogatory racial comments made to the little African-American girl. There was comments about, they get what they deserve type things.
And these are sick kids.
These are sick children.
Wait a minute, Todd, I must interrupt you for a second. Your book is about an ornament that is bullied. And
yes. It
was read to children who are now being bullied. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's why it makes my stomach churn.
No, you literally, when I was messaging, ironically, on Facebook, one of the little boy's mom, and she said, I just can't talk right now. She's like, I am just crying. There's one person in particular who somehow got a hold of her and is just spewing hate towards her about the fact that he attended this Oliver the Ornament reading with the First Lady.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, you can't make it up.
All right. Well, Todd, what do you do now? Where do you go from here? And if people want to buy your book and support you, where can they go?
Well, they can buy the book on olivertheornament.com. They can buy it on Amazon. Most of the stores that carry it probably have taken the product in, so it's probably best to buy it online. From here, what we do is, we build on this. If Michelle Obama I'm a Chicago guy. I've done events at University of Chicago, at Comer Children's Hospital, at Lurie Children's Hospital. If the former First Lady would like to do a similar event, I would love to do it. I would love to do this I'd love to do an event like this with anyone who's out there promoting kindness.
Oliver, could I just spitball an idea? And I'm not an author. Okay.
Yep.
Sequel. Oliver, this time it's personal with a machine gun. I'm just
He's a
what do you think? What do you
Todd,
think?
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. I made a sign. It's Oliver's getting bullied again, but this time it's by Facebook.
You should.
So.
Oliver bullied by. Oh yeah, there's a lot of ideas we can come up with for titles of your book. Well, I'm thank you so much for sharing your story with us, and again, if anybody wants to support Todd Zimmerman or buy Oliver the Ornament, just Google Oliver the Ornament, which I just did, and you can see.
Well, you can't find
all
it
the
on
places.
Google, right?
No, you can find it on Google. You just won't see a picture of Melania Trump, the First Lady, reading it unless you Google that. Well, thank you so much, Todd Zimmerman. We really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for your time.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro